Now to this week's case study. Fraser's Property Group is well known for their commitment to energy efficiency. In 2015, they achieved more Green Star ratings for their buildings than any other organisation. In an Australian first, they're installing geothermal air conditioning units into 800 homes at their Fairwater development in Sydney's west. These geothermal aircon units are quite different. They pump refrigerant into piping that runs up to 80 metres deep under each home. That approach uses up to 60% less energy than normal air conditioning. It also means that each home is expected to save an average of $500 a year on their energy bills. I met up with Paolo Bevilacqua from Fraser's Property Group to take a closer look at what they've done. Paolo Bevilacqua, welcome to Smart Money. Here at Fairwater, Fraser's Property are installing geothermal air conditioning in over 800 homes. Now, that's a first for Australia. How does this kind of air conditioning work?
Yeah, the best analogy I can use is the old household fridge. You know, you look at the back of your household fridge, you can see the coils going back and forth. Now, imagine that going straight down to the ground about 80 metres deep. And that helps do your heating and cooling in your home, and it does it much more energy efficiently, about 60% more energy efficiently, in fact.
When you compare this geothermal air conditioning to normal air conditioning, what's the difference?
Well, the difference really is that component, the heat pump and that loop underground, which helps with that heating and cooling. So the ground temperature is pretty stable all year round. Compare that to the air temperature outside. In summer, it can get very hot. You've got very hot air. And your typical condenser unit is really struggling to get cooling in your home or using a lot of energy to do it. The ground is very stable, and that heat pump just circulates that refrigerant quite efficiently to achieve your heating and cooling.
For the residents here at Fairwater, what kind of financial savings will they get from having geothermal air conditioning?
Financial savings will differ for every home, how big it is, how you use air conditioning. So we had to use some averages and make some assumptions, but we think typically a 3-bedroom home will save anywhere from $500 to $600 in energy costs associated with air conditioning.
What are the other benefits of using geothermal air conditioning? It's not just financial, is it?
No, it's not just financial. One of the things we've found is that the systems operate a lot more quietly. And with some of the lot sizes here and the more compact courtyards that we're starting to see in Sydney generally, but relevant to here, it means that you can have much greater amenity in that courtyard space. You don't have your typical condenser unit blowing hot air across the space. Now you've got a quiet heat pump sitting to the side, much smaller. Doesn't have a spinning fan that your kids can poke something in either. So a great outcome all around.
When you compare it to a conventional air conditioning system, how much more expensive is a geothermal air conditioning system to buy and install? And what's the return on investment?
So here we have the benefit of doing it at scale. You know, over a few hundred homes, you get some efficiencies. But what we're seeing on average, it's an additional cost of $2,500 to $4,000 per home compared to a traditional air conditioning system. And when you come back to the savings, which I mentioned earlier, $500 to $600, we say on average it's roughly a 6-year from a simple payback perspective, which we think is quite good.
Why did you choose this particular development to utilise this geothermal air conditioning? And can you apply this to any of your housing developments?
Yeah, so there was 2 main drivers for choosing Fairwater for geothermal. The first one was from early on we were targeting a 6-star Green Star communities rating. That was the first in New South Wales, and so we had to do something different. We also were getting feedback from our customers, prospective customers in this area, that air conditioning was something that they wanted to see in this project. And so when we looked at, well, what can we do that's strong sustainability focus, delivers air conditioning, geothermal came up as one of those real kind of interesting initiatives that we could target, hence we're seeing it here. But in terms of where it can be done, the geology really doesn't make a huge difference. The underground geology doesn't make a huge difference to how the system performs. That makes a bit of a difference. But as a result, you can really apply it in most parts of Australia. It's going to perform a little bit differently depending on the local climate, but it is potentially can be installed all over.
This development at Fairwater is a super efficient 6-star Green Star community. What else have you done to achieve that status?
A number of things we've done here. I mean, the first thing to point out is that the community is well connected. You've got jobs locally, you've got good infrastructure, and you've got schools and the like, good open space. So we've invested heavily in open space here. There's 6 hectares of parks and open space, another 3 hectares of waterways, as you can see behind us, which make a big difference. The riparian corridor, we spent over $8 million, taking that from a kind of a stormwater culvert, didn't look very effective, into a beautiful riparian corridor, and restored that and created some ecological benefit and some benefit for residents. We've also focused on health and wellbeing. So things like learn to ride parks, fitness stations for people of all ages, a Live Life Get Active program, which allows people to participate in free fitness classes 5 days a week. And then we have a community development officer. And a community development officer here on the ground. He's here today, and he goes around and really tries to establish a sense of community. It's easy to say, it's much harder to do. Get people to get to know each other and really own this as a community once we leave. Yeah.
And what else have you done to improve the efficiency of the homes themselves?
In the homes themselves, some of the other initiatives are more simple, but they make a difference. Putting ceiling fans in the homes, LED lighting. We have rainwater tanks that connect into the home to provide toilet flushing and also can be used outdoors for irrigation. They all make a difference. And we also have introduced light-coloured roofs. And you go, well, why have you done that? Well, they actually make a difference to the comfort of this community. Light-coloured roofs, as you know, light-coloured surfaces reflect heat more compared to dark colours. And that means that the urban heat island effect is improved here. You don't get as much local heating, which is a more comfortable space. This development at Fairwater's had a pretty strong focus on sustainability. Has that helped you to boost your sales? Look, so many factors go into buying a home, and the Sydney market's pretty hot, as we all know. But the feedback we've got is that Fairwater provides such a variety of product and at such great quality, and then introduces features like geothermal heating and cooling, like the open spaces that you're seeing. You put all that together, and the feedback is that people do see that as a value add, and the sales are still strong, which is a good sign. Given how energy efficient this development is, I can understand why you say it's environmentally sustainable, but you also say that it's socially sustainable. What do you mean by that? So social sustainability for us is a lot about community connection. It's also a lot about mental health and physical health and well-being. And some of the initiatives I mentioned earlier are important, but also the fact that it is a connected community. Earlier I was here and there was kids riding their bikes back on their school uniforms, coming back from school. It is connected with walkways and cycling infrastructure. The train station's not far. You can get into the Sydney CBD in a reasonable amount of time. There's also jobs locally, and all that makes a big difference from a social perspective. Final question. What's the current status here at Fairwater? What's happening now, and what are your future plans? Okay, so we've just released quite a unique product, which is waterfront homes, the walk terraces in Blacktown. So they've just been released. We're also going to start next year on some apartments. And what we're really focusing on is variety. The feedback from the market is that we need to provide variety and respond to that. So you can get anything from a one-bedroom apartment through to a 5-bedroom home here at Fairwater. We've delivered about 300, or we've sold 320. We're going to get up to 1,000 by the end of this project. So there's a bit to go. And we're going to focus on delivering those to the high quality and actually establishing these initiatives that we focused on getting set up now, seeing them come to life. And on the sustainability side, we've partnered with the Western Sydney Health District, and we want to see what kind of a difference all these initiatives, the open space, the connectivity, what difference do they make to your health in real terms. So they're going to help us track that and look at some indicators around health and wellbeing. Paolo, Bevilacqua, thanks for coming on Smart Money. Thank you. As you just saw, Fraser's Property Group has been really innovative in their adoption of geothermal air conditioning. When you look at what they've done, there are 3 things that I learned from that case study. First up, using energy-efficient equipment can deliver financial savings. By using geothermal air conditioning, the 800 homes will reduce their energy use by at least 1 million kilowatts a year. Secondly, by being the first to use geothermal at such a large scale, Fraser's Property Group have given themselves a first-mover market advantage. Finally, by boosting the energy efficiency of these homes, Fraser's Property Group is saving their customers money. Now, if you can guarantee your customers a financial saving like that, you definitely won't run short of customers. After the break, we'll cross live to London to check in with Bloomberg about the latest developments in energy, sustainability and finance. And in our weekly discussion, we'll be looking at Telstra and Fujitsu's new report that looks at the benefits of information and communications technology. Do stay with us.
Cruise Europe's rivers in style for less.